What's going on, my friends? CJ Curry here. Thank you so much for joining me on today's live stream. We're going to be talking about some MLB action going on. There's a lot of weather issues that we have to definitely discuss. Weather that could impact your bets. You know, if you guys are taking overs, unders on some of these players that are in these games with bad weather, it might come back to bite you later on in the night. So we'll definitely get into that, talk about today's MLB slate, try to find some winning picks, do a little research, do a little bit of digging, and see if we can find some winning player props for you guys on PrizePicks. But appreciate everybody who's here. If you're here and you're not hitting that like button yet, golly, man, what are y'all doing? I need your help. Hit the like button, share the live stream, share the channel with somebody. Let's add a few more subscribers to this thing that we've got started here, this thing that we've built. It is Taco Tuesday, as my guy James, aka Space Jam the DJ, if you're in Dub Club, has astutely pointed out. Taco Tuesday is the day where PrizePicks will put various player props up at a discount. So I know a lot of you guys know about Taco Tuesday. For those of you who don't, well, that's the name of the game. PrizePicks puts out some discounted player props. We like discounts. Now, the tacos, just because they're discounted doesn't mean that they are a free square. So, I mean, there's still an opportunity for some of these props to let us down, to fail us. Those of you who have taken Taco Tuesday discounts in the past, you kind of know how it works by now. It's not guaranteed. Just because it's discounted doesn't mean it's a guaranteed hit. So, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. I think the first taco typically goes up right around 12 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll see if maybe that happens while we're live here. If it does, we'll make a Taco Tuesday slip, including the first taco that they put up on the board. If not, then I will certainly make some Taco Tuesday slips and share them to Dub Club, which is a good segue into Dub Club. Let's talk a little bit about Dub Club. If you guys are looking for a community of like-minded individuals, people who are getting down to business, who are, placing their favorite bets, who are sharing their favorite props, plays, parlays, stats, information, resources, all right? Dub Club is the way to go. I've set up a community via Discord. So we got Dub Club Discord. They got together. They had a baby. And that baby is known as the Eyes on the Prize community. That is my community that I've been running now for 2 to 3 years. Really, I mean, like I said, it's just a place for everybody to kind of get together to share their favorite stats, information. 67 cents per day. They start you out on a 3-day free trial. And then from there, it's like $20 a month, $5 a week, however you want to break it down and do the math. Pretty affordable, and we're posting our favorite picks, plays, and parlays, more than I can provide here on YouTube. So if you're wanting to support the YouTube channel, support my content, and get access to even more picks in a kick butt community, Dub Club's the way to go. I've just left a link for you in the live chat if you're interested in doing so. So appreciate Dub Club for setting me up with a great platform to share everything. Yeah, once you join Dub Club, it's as simple as connecting your Dub Club and Discord accounts. And then I send everything through Discord. Everything that we do is through Discord. We are a community. You are signing up to be a part of the community, and the community gets down in Discord. So once you sign up for Dub Club, connect Dub Club to Discord, and then you'll have all access to all the hidden channels, private channels that are inside of the Eyes on the Prize Discord, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's run through the live viewers and say what's up to some folks. We got, obviously, Space Jam, the DJ. My guy James in the building. Yosemite Grams, let's go Dub Club gang. You flex, I flex back. Appreciate you being here. We got Bird North. Ayo, back at you. We got Big Yap 92, leaving the gorilla emojis. I like that. Look at that. I'm going to try and do my best gorilla impression for you guys. Yeah, we swole like a silverback. Big back season. Cho Boy Whack says, let's get this money. I like that energy. I like that plan. That sounds like a good plan. Let's try to get some money today. Juan's in the building. He's liking Kenta Maeda over 2.5 earned runs. We'll take a look at that one. We'll see if that's a plus EV play. We'll see if that one's projecting well. On top of that, Everyday Fantasy, my guy Don P, shout out to you. Thanks for being here. Jay is in the building. He says he's only got a $5 maximum limit on his Taco Tuesdays. Ooh, That's not good. I think I was getting $25 at one point. Hopefully, it's still $25. $5 tacos wouldn't be great. Wave Lord also saying that he's got a $5 taco limit. Is that true? Man, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Wyatt's in the building. Shout out to Wyatt. Who else we got in here? Tyrone. Shout out to Tyrone. We got Travis. Travis is here. He's looking to sweep the board. Dub Club in the building. Yeah, if you're a Dub Club member, drop the DC. Drop the DC in the live chat if you're a Dub Club member. I'd just like to see how many of you Dub Clubbers are out there that are rocking with me today. Let me know. Oh, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Oh, that's my guy Wyatt. Okay. I'm making the connection now. All right, let's get into today's MLB slate. Appreciate everybody joining me. Appreciate everybody who's liking, subscribing, sharing the channel, sharing the live stream with folks out there. Let's keep it going, keep it flowing. How many games we got on today's MLB slate? We got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 freaking games. 15 games, but it's not going to be 15. There's going to be a couple of games that are looking like they're heading toward a full-on postponement before they even get started. So let's look at the weather report real quick. Chicago, Baltimore. Yellow/green, that one should be safe. There might be a couple of storms, couple little pop-ups here or there, but it's not going to be anything that should be detrimental to your player props, to your pitcher props especially. Orange/yellow for the Cleveland Guardians Detroit Tigers game. They might try to play through the showers according to my weather guy here, Kevin Roth. Or they may not play at all. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that one. It's either they try to play through some rain or they're not going to play at all. So keep an eye on that one. Be careful taking any player props from that game, because if they play through rain or they try to start the game in rainy conditions and then that game ends up in a delay, a prolonged delay or a total postponement because of the rain, you could be left holding the bag, and we don't want that to happen to you. Los Angeles Dollars, that's a good sign. Los Angeles Dodgers and the Phillies, there could be a little rain there, but that's mostly a green, no problem. Oakland Athletics versus the Boston Red Sox. Some showers are expected to approach Boston during the game. May not make it there, but he's going to mark it a yellow just in case. We do have some winds that are blowing out to left/center field at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For those of you who are new to betting on baseball, anytime you get some wind blowing out, that's great for your hitters, right? Because that ball's going to travel. If you got warm weather with winds blowing out like we have here during these summer months, that ball is going to travel further. So that's great news for hitters. Not so great news if you're a pitcher, though. If you're a pitcher, you want those winds blowing inward, right? Keeping that ball inside the ballpark. So just something to kind of think about, which is why weather is so important when you're betting on baseball. We've got an orange/yellow for the Colorado Rockies Cincinnati Reds. The guy here, Kevin Roth, is thinking that there's going to be at least a delay during this game. Now, delays are terrible, especially if you're taking a starting pitcher over any player props in a potential weather delay game. I'm going to keep explaining this. I'm going to keep harping on this because each and every day we got new people here who are watching for the first time who may not have heard this information before. But let's say you take a player like a pitcher over strikeouts, over fantasy score, over pitching outs, one of those types of categories, or even hits allowed for that matter, over anything, right, for your pitcher props. Let's say you take the over. Let's say that during that game, let's say the third, fourth inning, the rain starts to really come down and they have to delay the game. If the delay is a long, prolonged delay, that pitcher's not going to come back out there. They're just going to go right to the bullpen. They're going to end that pitcher's day. He could have 3, 4 innings under his belt. He probably could have went another 1 to 2 innings or more. That doesn't matter. When he sits out there on the sideline waiting for the rain to clear up for too long, he gets cold. They're not going to put that guy back out there. So that's why it's important to look at the weather report before you start slapping overs, especially on pitchers from games with bad weather. You got a green label here for the Washington Nationals, New York Mets. Maybe a sprinkle. Winds blowing out. Again, winds blowing out. Great news for hitters. Red/orange. Now this game, I doubt this one actually plays at all. It's the Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals. It's going to be rain all day long, maybe until 9 or 10 p.m. They could technically wait it out and play late. Will they? He doesn't think so. Revisit later as you get closer to game time, but that one's looking like one that could be a full-on postponement, may not even get started. Same thing with this last one, the Minnesota Twins and Chicago White Sox, another game where they either play it wet or don't play it at all. So do they want to play through the rain? Not really great conditions typically when you're playing rainy baseball, but they could probably call this one off as well. So he slapped an orange/red label. So that's what you have to look forward to. Appreciate everybody else who is trickling in here. Up to 70 people watching. Let's run them likes up. Run them likes up. The last live stream picks were unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, we can only go off of the data and research that we have in front of us. Unfortunately, to your point, they still have to go out there, swing the bat. They still have to go out there and throw the baseball. I mean, we can't do it for them. I wish this was MLB The Show. I wish I could just pick up my controller and make these guys get hits, make these guys get strikeouts or whatever. I wish I could have more of an impact on what happens once they take the field. But, we can only do so much here, gang. That's just the way it goes. That's why it's gambling. All right. No guarantees or anything like that. But let's head over here to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. Let's refresh it. There's new data, new information being pulled in all the time from various sports books. So what this tool does is basically goes out there, it kind of scrapes odds, information, data from your favorite sports books, right? And basically it strips out the juice, the vig from these lines, and it gives you what they call fair odds or true odds of a player prop hitting for you. So for example, this top one, you've got a combination of Chris Sale, pitcher for the Braves, Zach Gallen, pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, 13 combined strikeouts. All right. 53.8% chance that they go for 13 or more Ks, that they combine for 13 or more strikeouts. And so, it looks at books like Pinnacle, sharpest sports book out there, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars, even Fliff or BetOnline. It goes out there and looks at all these different sports books. How is the market shaping up for this player prop? It's basically kind of what it's looking at here. And it gives you what are true or fair odds of a player prop hitting. So in this case, you got about a 53.82% chance that these guys are going to combine for at least 13 Ks or more. All right. Now, 53.82% ain't 100%. Ain't no guarantees around here. Ain't no locks. There's still about a 46%, 47% chance that these guys could combine for less than 13 strikeouts. So we have to be careful as sports bettors not to nuke anything. We want to do this every day, or at least be afforded the opportunity to do it every day. So that's where bankroll management comes in. There ain't a whole lot we can control in sports betting, but how much we risk on each slip, how much we have in play each day, those are things that we can control, that are in our power, right? We can do that. We can kind of manage our bankroll properly, not be crazy with the money and try to throw it all down on a 2-pick because I'm running, down to my last $10 and I need to triple it up real quick. No. Let's set ourselves up for sustainability, for profitability, and try to profit over the long haul. It ain't a get rich quick, gang. It ain't a this ain't a get rich quick kind of game. All right, we're looking for profitability over the long haul. So, just some words of wisdom. Hopefully that hits home for some of you guys. But taking a look at this first one, we'll look at this first combo of Chris Sale and Zach Gallen. Let's go ahead and add them to our PrizePicks slip. If you guys are not playing on PrizePicks yet, code Curry still getting you that 100% instant deposit match. Make your first deposit. Use code Curry. They're going to give you $1 for every dollar you put in, up to $100. So basically your first entry on PrizePicks will be a risk-free entry. And that's kind of cool, right? Make a first entry on PrizePicks and not really risk anything at all. It's like their money basically. But we'll add this one to our slip. Now I'm in Florida. I got PrizePicks Pick'em Arena here in Florida, which is different than the OG legacy version of PrizePicks that you probably all know and love. If you're living in Florida like me, or some of these other states, PrizePicks Pick'em Arena is a different format. Basically, you can make a 2-pick, a 3-pick, or a 4-pick. They're all power plays. You can't flex. You basically want to get them all right, all right? So that's what I'm stuck doing. I can only put in up to 4 picks per slip, and it's got to be a power play. If you want to take the risk with me, 4-pick power play, by all means do so. But I would recommend adding a 5th or 6th pick and flexing. I think that's the safer way to go, okay? So if you can flex, flex. If you can't, well, got to strap in here, all right? I've had a lot of 3 out of 4s, and it's painful. To get 75% of your picks right in a slip and not get anything for it is devastating. It's diabolical. It's destructive when it comes to your bankroll. But we're going to try and get a 4 out of 4 sweep, or I am anyway. Hopefully you guys flex with a 5 pick or a 6 pick and go that route. But yeah. To Michael's point, if you're a 4 picker, you probably don't want to flex a 4 pick. You probably want to flex a 5 or a 6. Exactly, Michael. Do I use middling on daily grind? Not really, to be honest with you. I mostly use the optimizer. I mean, I have access to like their AI tool, their middling tool, but no, I don't get in there and poke around on that too much. Let's see here. Nick Lodolo. Mr. Solo Dolo. Cincinnati Reds pitcher, 6.5 strikeouts. Was this game weather-related issues? Kind of. Colorado, Cincinnati. Delay on the table. Yeah, we're going to stay away from him. This is orange/yellow. If we take the over on Lodolo and he has 6 strikeouts in the 5th or 6th inning, and then all of a sudden the rain starts pouring down, they're going to pull this guy and he's going to be done for the rest of the game, no matter what his pitch count is at. So I'm going to stay away from that one. But is it a plus EV play? Yes. Positive expected value play? Yes. If you feel like the weather's going to be crystal clear all game long and he's not going to be impacted by it, then by all means, you can take the over at 6.5, but I'm just going to leave that one alone. If you wanted to take Zach Gallen on his own at 6 strikeouts, you got about a 53.2% chance he's going to have at least 6 Ks on his own. Maybe you don't like the pairing of Chris Sale and Zach Gallen together as a combination. Maybe you just want to take Zach Gallen on his own because you don't think Chris Sale's going to do that great against the Arizona Diamondbacks. You could do that. Zach Gallen at 6 or more Ks, 53.2% chance. So that could be an option for you if you're not into playing the combos. All right. Obviously, I know that we can't play both Gallen combos and Gallen on his own, but we're going to add him to the slip, and we'll make a decision whether we want to go combo or we want to go Zach Gallen all on his own. We'll take a look at that. You got Zach Wheeler as another plus EV play showing up here on the optimizer. 5.5 hits allowed, 53.2% chance, let's call it, for him to stay under 5.5 hits allowed. So they don't think Zach Gallen's going to get smacked up tonight for a lot of hits. So not Zach Gallen, Zach Wheeler. The other Zach Wheeler under 5.5 hits allowed. Going up against the LA Dodgers. I do think that one, wasn't that on the weather list? Yeah, but it was green. Green weather in Philadelphia, so no big deal. The only issue would be hot temperatures with winds blowing out to center. And as I mentioned, that's not always great news if you're a starting pitcher. But we'll throw Zach Wheeler in there under 5.5 hits allowed for now. What else is showing up here on the optimizer? And by the way, feel free to screenshot this and do a little bit of independent research if you prefer. That's totally up to you. We got Nico Herner of the Chicago Cubs at 0.5 runs. Looks like people are betting the under on Nico to cross home plate. They don't think he's going to cross home plate once today. And that could be a thing. Let's go take a look and see how the Chicago Cubs as a player stack, as a team stack are looking today. I mean, are they in a good spot against Dean Kramer? You got the top projected offense being the Boston Red Sox going up against Joey Estes today. You got the Chicago Cubs kind of toward the mid to upper tier, we'll call them, as an offense today as far as where they're projected against Dean Kramer. So, I mean, could they potentially smack Dean Kramer around? I mean, maybe. Offensively, they're like toward the mid to upper tier in terms of a team stack today against Kramer and the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll add him in. We'll see if he's projecting well. And now that we got like 4 picks kind of in this slip, let's go dig into some projections. Of course, we're using projections provided by The Bat, which is the #1 MLB projection model on the market. So if you're looking for a good MLB projection model, The Bat, great way to go. So let's start with Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen is at 6 strikeouts. On his own, the bat has him projected for 6.91 Ks, which is good news. If you wanted to take the over on Zach Gallen at 6 strikeouts, he's projecting for 6.91 Ks. So almost a full K higher on the bat than he is on PrizePicks. How about Chris Sale? Chris Sale sitting at 6.68 Ks. His line on its own is at 7. So I think for me, if we were making a decision here between the combo and the guy on his own, Zach Gallen, I think I would rather take Zach Gallen on his own. Projected for 6.9. His line is at 6. It's a plus EV play for him to go over 6. So I think I would prefer the over on Gallen by himself than I would the combo. Combo could very well hit, or it could tie, or it could push. Seems like it's setting up for more of a tie or push just based on the projection. So for me, I think I would rather go Zach Gallen on his own, solo. Cam Childs, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you, Cam. What do you guys think? Combo or Zach Gallen on his own? Let me know. Again, we're always guessing, right? We're always guessing, but I like to try to put some data behind our guesses. Make it an educated, informed guess, right? Not just going with our gut. Not just going with our intuition or instinct, in other words. So we try to put some data behind it using these projection models, using the data from these sports books. How's the market responding to, somebody like Zach Gallen over 6 strikeouts? I mean, he's a minus 207 betting favorite on Pinnacle to go over 5.5 strikeouts. Minus 207 odds over 5.5 Ks, which means there's a really good chance, hopefully, that he lands on at least 6 Ks. Now, the question is he going to get 7 Ks? I mean, we don't know. Hopefully that type of upside exists for him today in this matchup against the Atlanta Braves. But we could check a second projection on Zach Gallen too, just to see where the other projection models kind of stack up on him. He's at 5.63 over on RotoWire. Again, every projection model is a little bit different. The bat being the most accurate is the one that I typically will consider over all these other projection models. So that's just me. But 5.63 projected strikeouts, closer to 6 Ks than 5 with the 5.63 projected strikeouts. So decent projection there. We could also check a third projection. Yeah, I've got access to a lot of models, a lot of different projection models. They've got Zach Gallen sitting right at 6. So 6, hopefully 7 would be even better. We don't, play to tie or play to push. If you could get him at 5.5 somewhere, like on a sports book or on an app like Sleeper or maybe Parlay Play, one of those apps, your payout will be pretty low because it's so juiced up on the over at 5.5. But if you could get it at 5.5 somewhere, like on your favorite sports book, it looks like a pretty solid bet for over 5.5 strikeouts. So maybe you don't want to take it on PrizePicks because of the tie or push potential. Maybe you want to take it somewhere else. You could do that. Zach Wheeler at 5.5 hits allowed. Let's run some projections on Wheeler real quick. As far as Wheeler's hits allowed, going up against a pretty potent LA Dodgers team, but given the matchup here, he is projected for 5.35 hits allowed, putting him closer to 5 hits allowed than 6 hits allowed. Now, one thing that I really like here about Outlier, in case you guys aren't using Outlier, Outlier is a fantastic tool for all your deep dive player prop research needs. They also have a plus EV product if you're interested in trying their pro version. But one thing that I like about this is you can click on your favorite player and player prop market, and then you can kind of take a look at a guy like Zach Wheeler and kind of get an idea of what his hit rates are like. How often has he stayed under 6 hits allowed? And he's actually stayed under 6 hits allowed pretty often. 78% of the games in which he's appeared, he has stayed under 6 hits allowed. 4.33 average hits allowed per game. Now, you could also take things a step further. They have this filtration system. Not like a water filtration system, but a player prop filter. You could turn on something like only show me the home games. And when you only see the home games, you can see that 9 out of 10 home games in which he's appeared, 90%, he has stayed under 6 hits allowed. So if he has 6 hits allowed tonight, it would only be the second time this season in which he started at home that he's allowed 6 or more hits playing in front of the Phillies fans. So he tends to pitch pretty well at home versus the road. But this could be one of those props where, you bet the under. Very solid hit rates for those of you who care about such things. I don't think hit rates matter as much as people think they do. I think the lines makers set the lines to be as close to a 50-50 coin flip as possible. I don't think, hit rates make much of a difference. It's all about the matchup in front of you. It's all about the ballpark you're playing in, the lineup you're facing if you're Zach Wheeler. A lot of different factors. But nonetheless, LA Dodgers versus right-handed pitchers, pretty tough. They're pretty tough against righties. So, it's not going to be a walk in the park. If he gave up 5 hits allowed, then, I wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah, that's what you have there for Zach Wheeler for those who care about those hit rates. But as far as I'm concerned, Zach Gallen and Zach Wheeler can stay right where they are. I think they both look like fine plays. What do you guys think? Liking it? Hating it? Zach Wheeler under 5.5 hits allowed. I think it looks pretty solid as far as what he's done in the past. What about Nico Hoerner? We talked about him at 0.5 runs. Let's run some projections on him. Chicago Cubs, not one of the top offensive teams tonight in terms of projection, offensive projection goes, but also far from being one of the bottom teams. He is projected for 0.51 runs today going up against Baltimore. 0.51 runs is actually kind of low. I know it's a little bit higher than the 0.5 line that he set at, but I look at a lot of these run projections each and every day, and 0.5 runs is actually on the lower end for a run projection. Just to put that into perspective, as far as PrizePicks run props right now, the guy who's projected the highest for runs is Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers at 0.76 runs. The guy who's projected the lowest is Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox at 0.49 runs. And so Nico Hoerner is right above him at 0.51 runs. So that's not a very high projection in terms of a run total. So I can see why people are betting the under, taking the under on a guy like Nico Hoerner when you go and look at the sportsbook data, right? As we did. Minus 135 betting favorite on DraftKings, on BetMGM, on Caesars, he's a minus 131 betting favorite. So I can kind of see why they're betting the under on Nico Hoerner, because the projection of 0.51 is not very high. Now, the only scary part is he is leading off for the Chicago Cubs, meaning being at the top of the order, he may get more opportunities or more at-bats being number one or projected to be number one in the lineup today. So that's kind of something to consider. But nonetheless, is it a plus EV play? Yes. Is it projecting well? Yes. And again, there's only so much we can control or do. We got to get our money in good. We are getting our money in good on this particular prop. Mathematically speaking, it makes sense to take the under here if you're playing on PrizePicks. Let's check a second projection on Nico real quick, and then we can move on and try to find ourselves a fourth pick. Based on the RotoWire projections and tools here, Nico Hoerner sitting here at 0.5 runs, right? You can see that they've got a lean more category and a lean less category. They are saying lean less on Nico Hoerner. He did score a run in his last game. Previous 4 games, no runs scored. He's projected for about 0.58 runs today. Again, that's on the lower end, lower side. So, do with that information what you will. I think I'm going to let it ride, and we'll keep him in there and see what happens. Again, definitely flex when you can. If you're in a state where you can flex. If you're in a state like I am in Florida where you cannot flex, well, we're going to have to get them all right, aren't we? We're going to have to get all the picks right, aren't we? Now, they did bump Nick Lodolo up to 7 strikeouts. Remember, he was just at 6.5 a minute ago when we talked about him, and we talked about the potential weather conditions there in that game. Well, they just bumped him up to 7. Now, if this game becomes a rain out, well, then I don't mind taking the under here at 7. 53.1% chance for him to have 7 or fewer strikeouts today. He's going up against Colorado, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, Colorado at Cincinnati. Now, Colorado does strike out a lot, but what we're banking on here is that Mother Nature rains down on the Cincinnati Reds game. That's what we're hoping for. How do the projections look for Lodolo at 7Ks? Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. 6.25 expected strikeouts for Lodolo, according to the bat. I like that. His line's 7. His projection 6.25. So that could be a good opportunity for us to pounce on the under while it's sitting at 7. Here's another projection, 7.45. That kind of puts him closer to the 7 end of the spectrum than 8 strikeouts, right? Not a terribly high strikeout number on the RotoWire projections. And then going over here to Fantasy Labs and the action projection tool, Lodolo, well, they actually don't have a projection for him over here on Fantasy Labs. Interesting. Let me refresh. Maybe they added him. Nope. No projection for Lodolo there. But nonetheless, 2 projections that have him closer to 7. So, I mean, we could add him in under 7Ks in a potentially rain out type of game. It's projected pretty low, closer to 6 strikeouts on the bat than 7. For me, I've just been doing $10 units with these 4-pick power plays, but whatever your unit size is, a lot of people just do 1% of their entire bankroll. For me, this is closer to 2% of my bankroll, since my bankroll is sitting right around $600. So for me, I'm going to put 10 on it, and we'll run that as our first slip. Again, if you're in a state where you could do 5-pick flexes, 6-pick flexes, then you probably want to add an additional pick to these 4 and flex it. You should be flexing when able. So let's take a look here. Let's refresh this. I like to filter out the fantasy scores here on Daily Grind. I use traditional projection models for fantasy score stuff. I don't really typically lean too much on the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer for fantasy score. Here's one that's really high up here on the Opti as well. Jose Quintana of the New York Mets, under 2.5 earned runs allowed. This one's getting a lot of juice, a lot of traction out on your sports books. So out on Pinnacle, it's a -134 betting favorite to go under at 2.5. So if you were looking for that 5th pick to add to a slip, maybe you go Jose Quintana here, under 2.5 earned runs allowed. Let's just run some projections on it. I like to see if it's projecting well and it's a plus EV play. I'll typically go with it. Now, it's pretty sharp here. The projection's pretty sharp. 2.46 projected earned runs allowed. Now, that is kind of closer to 2 earned runs allowed than 3 earned runs allowed. That is close. That is a sharp projection. Let's go run a little report here on Quintana using Outlier. I'm just kind of interested to see how he pitches at home versus on the road. How many times has he gone under or over 2.5 hits allowed? So we've used the under 2.5 earned runs allowed. He's actually gone under 2.5 earned runs allowed in 53% of the games in which he's appeared, 9 out of 17. If you look at just the home games, a little higher hit rate actually when he pitches at home. 2.1 average earned runs allowed per game, 63% hit rate. You said they pulled Quintana from the board? Let's look. Nope, he's still up there. Here he is. See, my thing here, it says maximum of 4 picks allowed. See that up there in the top right-hand corner? Yeah, that sucks. I hate playing 4-pick power plays, but that's what I have to do. No, Quintana is still definitely on the board. If you're looking, oh, look at that. They just pulled him. Literally. He just disappeared. He's no longer on the board now. All right. Maybe you got him before they pulled him. What else we got then? We'll move on from Quintana since he disappeared on us literally in real time. he gone. Yeah, my words are magical, right? It's crazy. You speak his name, he disappears. Jake Irvin, how about him at 5 Ks? The under looking like the option, 5 or fewer Ks looking like the way to go here. And why is it at 5 on PrizePicks, you may ask, and not 5.5? Because at 5.5 on all the sports books, you're seeing a minus 226 betting favorite to go under 5.5 strikeouts on Pinnacle, minus 166 to go under 5.5 on FanDuel, minus 180 betting favorite to go under 5.5. So the juice, the action, the way things are moving on these sports books forced PrizePicks to take him from 5.5 strikeouts down to 5. But there's so much juice coming in on the under at 5.5 that the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer is saying even at 5 you should be thinking about taking the under here, because there's a pretty darn good chance based on the odds that he goes for 5 or less strikeouts. So Jake Irvin could be a worthwhile pick. Let's go run some projections. Maybe we throw Irvin in there as that 5th pick for you guys who are looking for like a 5th or 6th pick. Yeah, I mean, he's projected for 4.74 Ks. Now, the New York Mets, for anybody who's been following baseball this season, they are not a team that typically strikes out at a very high clip. The Mets don't really strike out all that much, gang. So for him to be projected for under 5 Ks, for people to be betting the under at 5.5 Ks, I mean, that makes a lot of sense because you're talking about a team here. You're dealing with a team that's just not striking out at a whole high rate. Let's get you a second projection because, again, every projection model is just a little different from one projection to the next. Now, even though he's over here on the left-hand side for the lean more column on RotoWire, if you pop open the full breakdown, you can see that their projection for him is 4.27. The only reason that they're saying that you should probably think about leaning more is because of his hit rates. But again, I would take hit rates with a grain of salt. I prefer to look at a projection. I weigh a projection heavier than I do a hit rate. I think it's more of a sharp, informed play to look at what he's projected to do today versus what he's done in the past. Okay, because matchups are everything. So 4.27 projected strikeouts. The line is 5. Let me see if I can get you a third projection here on Jake the Snake. 4.5. So his line's 5.5 on the books. His projection here is 4.5. There's a lot of data, a lot of advanced stats, a lot of analytics that go into these projection models. So we should definitely take them serious. They're not always right. No process, whether you're betting with your gut, whether you're betting using projection models, whether you're betting using hit rates, nothing is perfect. We're not winning all the time, no matter what method we use. Okay? It's just the way that it is. But for me, I would say that Jake Irvin makes for a fine play. Now, I got to start a second slip here because I've already got 4 in the first slip, right? And I can't add any more. So I'm going to clear those guys out, and I'm going to start a second slip here. Jake Irvin under 5 Ks would be the start of the second slip. What are hits allowed? You can't find that on what? FanDuel Sportsbook? Hits allowed are basically how many hits that a starting pitcher is expected to give up to an opposing team. So like we talked about Zach Wheeler at 5.5 hits allowed versus the LA Dodgers. We took the under on 5.5 hits allowed. So we hope that Zach Wheeler only allows 5 hits or fewer to the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's all it is. That's what the hits allowed category is. Cool? Hopefully that makes sense. Snoopaloop says Lodolo is also coming off of the injured list with a blister. Nice. I like that. You know what? Maybe that rain will come down. Maybe his hands will get soft. Maybe that blister will get soft. Maybe that blister will open back up with his wet hands. Nah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm dreaming. Hopefully. I mean, that would be cool. That would be cool. Tony, thank you for subbing to the channel. Appreciate you, man. All right. So we got Jake Irvin in there at 5 or fewer Ks. 5 or fewer Ks. But we gotta go for more picks, right? We gotta find a couple more. Look at that juice building up on Nick Lodolo under 7. It's more juiced up now than it was a minute ago. So still looking like a fine play if you could get Lodolo at 7 or fewer Ks. Do it. Do it. What else? Jake Irvin we got in there. Reese Hines of the Cincinnati Reds under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Okay. Obviously, hitting a baseball is really tough. So for me, I like looking for more under options, under opportunities on hitters than I do overs. So we'll take a peek at Reese Hines here and see if he's projecting for more, less at 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So hits, runs, and RBIs is kind of like your points, rebounds, and assists for NBA. It's a combination of those 3 categories. For every hit, for every run, for every RBI that this guy gets, he basically gets 1 point. Okay? And so we need him to have less than 2 of those 3 combined stat categories, hits, runs, and RBIs. So he can have 1 hit, he can have 1 RBI, or he can have 1 run. He just can't have multiple of those 3 categories, right? He's only allowed to have 1 of any of those 3. That's what we're hoping for anyway when we bet the under. All right, what else do we have on the optimizer? We're looking for at least 2 more picks. I want to go at least 2 more picks. We got Jordan Westburg of the Baltimore Orioles, 1.5 total bases, 53% chance that he's going to stay under 1.5 total bases. Now, total bases seems to confuse a lot of people out there. Is there anybody out there that doesn't know how total bases work? Let me know in the live chat, and I'll explain if you need me to explain. If there's anybody who doesn't know how total bases work, let me know. I'd be happy to clarify. But we're going to try Jordan Westburg under 1.5 total bases. Mob correctly says, explain it. Absolutely. Sure. No problem. So total bases can only happen when a player uses his bat. All right. When a player uses his bat, he's got to use that stick. He's got to swing that wood. Got to lob that lumber at the baseball. All right. So he can't be walked. He can't be hit by a pitch. That doesn't count for a total base. He can't make it to first base on a catching error or something. You know, none of that craziness. No, stolen bases don't count. So once he gets over to first base, if he steals second base, that's a stolen base. It's got its own category. That's not a total base. Doesn't count toward his total base tally. So if he uses his baseball bat, Jordan Westburg, and he gets a hit, let's say that hit is a single, that's 1 total base. If he hits for a double, that's 2 total bases. If he hits for a triple, that's 3 total bases. Now he can get 2 singles, and that would be 2 total bases, which would put him over 1.5. So that's how total bases work. Does that make sense? Yeah, Michael, that's true. Sometimes you'll see a line at 0.5 total bases, but you'll also see maybe their hits line at 0.5 total bases. Kind of the same thing at that point. A hit and a total base. Kind of the same thing at that point. Now, there are some situations where you'll have a guy who total bases kind of gives you, well, I should say hits give you more outs than like total bases do. Right? Like if a line is a 1.5 hits, but he also has a 1.5 total baseline, I don't know, it's kind of tricky because you could get that 1.5 over total bases with a double, right? So really it's only 1 hit. Maybe a guy only has 1 hit for the entire game, but that 1 hit is a double. Whereas if he has a 1.5 total hits line, He's got to hit the ball twice. A little harder to do. So pros and cons for both. Pros and cons. Let's go and find us at least one more pick here. Somebody said that the first taco's up on the board. It's a soccer taco. Now, I am no soccer expert. I do not know. But just thinking back on previous soccer discounts, previous soccer tacos, I kind of want to say they don't hit at a very high clip. I feel like I've been burned by soccer tacos in the past. Yay? Nay? What about you guys? What's your experience with soccer tacos? Wish it was a different sport. Wish it was baseball. Just give us 3 baseball tacos or WNBA or something. If he hits a single but then moves on to third or goes home, does that count? No. If he hits a single, that's 1 total base. What he does once he's on base, that does not count. He did not earn those bases. If he's on first and the next guy behind him hits a single and that advances him to second base, well, that counts for the guy that hit the ball that was behind him in the lineup as 1 total base. That doesn't really do anything for the guy that's already on base. So, no. All right, what else we got here? I would like another pitcher prop. I think pitchers are a little bit more predictable than hitters. So I would like to go with another pitching prop if possible. What do we have, though? Nick Lodolo, we could go back to the Lodolo well. 1.5 earned runs allowed. So if he gives up 2 or more earned runs, then we would cash. That one's getting some pretty decent juice, minus 133 on Pinnacle. So that could be a move. But I'm going to stay away from that because of the potential rain. I don't want to take any overs from a game that could run into a rain delay. How about Jameson Taillon of the Chicago Cubs at 4.5 pitcher strikeouts, 52.7% chance for him to stay at 4 or less pitching strikeouts today. Jameson Taillon going up against the Baltimore Orioles, typically a pretty good offense. Let's look into this, into these picks that we have loaded up here. Rhys Hines under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Jordan Westberg, who is going to be facing Jameson Taillon, under 1.5 total bases, and then Taillon himself at 4.5 pitching strikeouts, leaning toward the under. So we'll start with the hitters first. Let's go to the hits, runs, and RBIs category here, and we will type in Rhys Hines, not Rhys Gaines. Rhys Gaines was he was a basketball player back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Rhys Gaines, y'all remember him? He actually played for my Orlando Magic. That's why his name came to mind. Didn't have a very good pro career. It's probably one of the worst draft picks that the Orlando Magic have made in the last 20 years. Hate to say it, but Rhys Hines of the Cincinnati Reds going up against Colorado, 1.77 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's batting 8th in the order toward the end of the order. So I kind of like taking unders, especially guys at the end of the order. And the reason is a lot of times those guys are only in there for maybe like 2 at-bats, sometimes 3 at-bats, and then they get pinch hit for. They're in there to kind of take advantage of the starting pitcher. Once the starting pitcher leaves the game, then they typically will take a guy like maybe a Rhys Hines out. Now, sometimes that happens. That doesn't always happen. But sometimes a guy like Rhys Hines, who's at the end of the order, batting 8th, will get pinch hit for, which is great, right? Because that's 1, maybe even 2 less opportunities for him to record a hit, a run, or an RBI for him. Now, on top of that, the under makes some sense here because you've also got weather concerns, right? Like we've talked about. So taking the under on a hitter in a game that could potentially be a prolonged delay might not be a bad thing either. Now, he's projected for 1.77 hits, runs, and RBIs. To put things in perspective, 1.77 on a line of 1.55 is not very high. Like one of the guys that are the lowest projected hits, runs, and RBIs guys today is Brian Rocchio of the Cleveland Guardians at 1.45. So for Rhys Hines to be at 1.77, batting 8th in the order, 1.77 is not a whole lot higher. Like one of your highest projected guys that at 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs would be Yordan Alvarez. He's at 1.5, but his projection's 2.52. So that's a high projection. 1.8 is not really that high of a projection. So I kind of like to show you sort of who's projecting really well for hits, runs, and RBIs and who's projecting not so well. 1.8 is more than 1.5 technically, but it's not that much more, especially when you compare to a guy like Yordan, who is at 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So not a terrible projection for him. Let's look at a second projection, though. Second projection, which is over here on RotoWire, they've got him all the way down at 0.54 hits, runs, and RBIs. So he's way down there, way at the other end of the spectrum. Like maybe he gets a hit, maybe he gets one run, or maybe he gets one RBI. But the projection here on RotoWire has him going way under. So you can put Rhys Hines for less than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs in your entry if you feel like it. It's looking pretty decent to me. Jordan Westbrook, 1.5. Jordan Westberg, not Westbrick. 1.5 total bases going up against the Chicago Cubs. How are the offenses looking for these two teams, both Cincinnati and Baltimore? We can look at both of those. Cincinnati going up against Cal Quantrill. Cal's not a great pitcher. Cincinnati's not a great offense, but Cal's not a great pitcher either. So the Cincinnati Reds offense is up there, right around 10th. The 10th highest projected. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. 9th highest projected offense is the Cincinnati Reds. So a pretty decent projection for them today. And then Baltimore. Baltimore against Jameson Taillon. As a team, second highest projected offense. So a little concerning to take the unders on these guys, being that their teams are projected to do so well. But let's run a projection here for our guy Westberg. We're going to go back over here to the total bases using the BAT projection models. Westberg is projected for about 1.79 total bases. Again, if he hits one time, or if he gets one hit and it's a double or better, a double or triple, a home run, we're screwed. He's going to go over total bases if he hits a double, a triple, a home run. Or if he hits two singles, we're in deep doo-doo. All right, he's projected for about 1.8. Again, to put that into perspective against some of these other total base projections, your highest total base projection right now on the PrizePicks board is Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles at 2.3 total bases, whereas Westberg is at 1.79. So, kind of gives you some perspective on the projection. Where's he at over on RotoWire? We can look at that. RotoWire's a little bit more generous with their projection. Got him closer to 2. Got him closer to 2 projected total bases. So I don't know. I'm a little iffy on Westy. He's like middle of the order, batting 5th, or that's where he should be. I'm gonna leave him out. But you can, certainly play him knowing that it's a plus EV play, knowing that the projections are decent. How about Jameson Taillon under 4.5 strikeouts? Go over to the strikeout category here. He's projected for about 3.86. Love that. The bat has him under 4 Ks at 3.86. As Wyatt pointed out, there's a little report that I post for Dub Club members each and every day. Hot pitching matchups, hot hitting matchups, cold pitching matchups, cold hitting matchups. Jameson Taillon does appear on the cold pitcher matchups today against the Baltimore Orioles. So good call out, good shout out. So they expect Taillon to struggle against this Baltimore Orioles offense today. So that could be a good sign, maybe a good move for us to take the under on him. There's at least 3 hitters that are projected to be in the starting lineup for Baltimore tonight. Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, and Ramon Urias. Ramon Urias. See that? Been working on my Spanish. At least 3 guys that are expected to give Taillon some problems, or historically speaking, have given Taillon problems in the past. Anthony Santander is not one of them. He is a cold batter matchup today. Hasn't had the greatest success, greatest luck against Taillon in the past. So some potential problems for Taillon today. So taking the under at 4.5 Ks doesn't look awful. Let's get a second projection on the strikeouts. The RotoWire projections would lean less on Taillon. They've got a projection for about 4.76 Ks today. We could take a look at where he's been on, as far as the hit rates go for my hit rate homeboys and homegirls out there. For those of you who care about hit rates, I'll pull it up. Pull it up, pull it up. Now, he's been hot. Last few games, last 5 out of 6 starts, he's had 5 or more Ks. No previous games against Baltimore this season. Faced him one time last season, had 1 strikeout against them, but that's considered ancient history at this point. Like I said, that was last season. Taillon on the road, not so great. 3.3 average strikeouts per game on the road. He's actually stayed under 4.5 strikeouts in 67% or 2/3 of the games that he has started on the road. So, not so great on the road. Much lower strikeout per game average. Now, as far as the Baltimore Orioles go against right-handed pitchers, they actually have a pretty low strikeout rate. 6th ranked in terms of strikeouts. 7th in the last 30 days. So not striking out a whole lot against righties. I mean, it all depends, too, on who they put out there. Like, if the guys that are expected to give Taillon problems, that have given Taillon problems in the past, if those guys are in the lineup tonight and they're just, like, smashing him and they get him out of there within 5 innings, then he might struggle. I mean, he might struggle with confidence. He might struggle with control. He might start getting, more nitpicky with his pitches and kind of trying to pitch around guys and, so it just depends. There's a lot that can go into a pitcher's head if some of these hitters start getting to him early in the game. So we'll see. There are definitely some strikeouts to be found here in this lineup here for the Baltimore Orioles. A lot of these guys have like 20+% K rates. I mean, if they get Ryan O'Hearn in there, Urias in there, some of these lower strikeout guys, Santander, even though he's, had his struggles against Taillon in the past, then maybe they don't strike out quite as much. But anyway, just rocking with the projections here on Taillon. This one's got him going slightly over. The bat has him going under by quite a bit. Let's see if we could break the tie here and get a third projection here for Jameson Taillon. 4.5. That doesn't really help us. That could break either way, right? That could be 4. That could be 5. That could be 4 or 5. So, bit of a coin flip. Really could break either way. But if you believe that the Baltimore Orioles are smashing Taillon, pause. If they get to Taillon early, then maybe they get Taillon up out of there within 5 innings. Something to think about. Let's see what else we got here on the optimizer. Looking for one more pick. You guys are saying the soccer tacos looking decent? Andre Palante. Wyatt says Dub Club is the best. Appreciate it, Wyatt. Yeah, if you're interested in joining Dub Club, like I said, 3-day free trial. Just dropped a link in the description or in the live chat for you guys. Take advantage. Take advantage. 3-day free trial, 67 cents per day after the 3-day free trial is done. So the soccer prop's going over. Some of you guys seem to be very optimistic about this soccer prop today. Love that. The 3 odds apps I have Tyon under, says J1221. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, most of the juice is coming in on Tyon under 4.5Ks. So, I mean, listen, we going to ride with it. Andre Palante, though, you guys are asking about him. He's at 3Ks. Anytime you get a pitcher, starting pitcher, now he's not a great pitcher by any means. If you can get him at 3, you probably want to take the over. But at 3.5, I mean, 3.5 is where I'm seeing him here on PrizePicks. Is that what you guys are seeing? Minus 142 betting favorite on Pinnacle to stay under 3.5 strikeouts. Again, he's not great. Is he in a game with bad weather? Yeah. I mean, this game may not even play, so I wouldn't even mess with it. This game's probably not even going to play. And if it does, there's a chance for it to get postponed or delayed or completely postponed if they do decide to play through the rain. I would just leave it under. Or leave it alone. I would not mess with it at all. I would fade it. There we go. That's the word. I would fade it. I would leave it alone. Because of the Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals game is in a red/orange state right now. So I'm not even going to mess with it because it's probably going to turn into a DNP if the game gets postponed. And then your 5 pick becomes a 4 pick. Your 4 pick becomes a 3 pick. You know how them DNPs work. And so it could potentially nerf your payout. And so I'm just going to leave Andre Palante alone. No reason to put him in there if the game's not going to play. You're basically putting in a DNP square into your slip. Does that make sense? Now, if you want a projection on him, I will get you a projection on him. His projected strikeouts today against the Royals, 3.12. So closer to 3Ks than 4. But I would not include him in any of my slips because he's more than likely not going to probably play. That game's looking like a washout, a rain out situation. What else? Will Smith of the Dodgers getting jiggy with it. 53% chance of him going over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. The Los Angeles Dodgers are typically a pretty well projected offensive team. Tonight, they're going against Zach Wheeler. So the offense is not as highly projected as they typically are. They're kind of like right in the middle of the pack in terms of offensive projections. You can kind of see where they rank. Not super high, not super low, right there, smack dab in the middle. Now they'll get Zach Wheeler for probably about 6 innings, and then it'll become a bullpen game. Now, could Will Smith potentially do well against the bullpen? He could. Let's see what Mr. Will Smith's projecting for today. Projected for 2.2 hits, runs, and RBIs. They've got him slotted in the number 2 spot, the 2 hole in the order. So they expect him to be closer to the top of the order today than the bottom, which is good. Potentially more at bats. If he were to somehow sneak in a 5th at bat, that would be amazing, right? More opportunities, more chances for him to step up and get you a hit, a run, or an RBI. But he should be good for at least 4. 5 would be a cherry on top. But yeah, he's projected for 2.22 hits, runs, and RBIs. Over on RotoWire, RotoWire's going to have Big Willie sitting at 1.93. So again, closer to 2 than 1. Is Will Smith, historically speaking, decent against Zach Wheeler? It doesn't look like it. He's not in the hot section. He's not in the cold section. Freddie Freeman's in the hot section against Zach Wheeler, though. And that's a pretty huge sample size, 51 at-bats in his life against Zach Wheeler, and has walked quite a bit. So if you're looking for like a solid option here, Freddie Freeman versus Zach Wheeler, like fantasy score, because Freddie Freeman's going to he's probably going to get on base at least once via walk. So I don't mind that. Like a Freddie Freeman, maybe more. I'd probably take him over Will Smith. Freddie Freeman for more than 8 hitter fantasy score. I mean, he's walked 15 times in his career versus Zach Wheeler, so that's kind of nice. Walks are worth, I think, 2 fantasy score. Now, he's also struck out 11 times against Wheeler in his 51 at-bats or plate appearances. But he does have 21 hits against him. 6 of those hits have been for extra bases. 2 have been for home runs. He's got 8 RBIs against Wheeler. And he holds a pretty impressive 1.145 OPS. So you could go Freddie Freeman. I like him probably more than Will Smith hits, runs, and RBIs. Don't hate that. I do wish the Dodgers as a team overall were a little bit highly projected because Freddie will probably need some help to clear this hits, runs, and RBIs. In other words, if he gets on base, somebody's going to have to knock him in, right? Or if somebody's on base in front of him, you got to hope that they get on base in front of him. He'll be able to knock them in, right? Get that RBI for you, potentially drive in a run. But yeah, I mean, that could be an option for you. You could go Freddie Freeman over hitter fantasy score. I think I've got a projection for that too. Let me just pull that up for you real quick. Let's expand this out. Freddie Freeman, it's not that great actually. 8.82. 8.82 projected fantasy score for Freddie Freeman. So he's at 8. 8's probably a pretty fair number. I wish it was a little higher than that. We did talk about how often he has struck out versus Zach Wheeler. So you could go, if you want to maybe an easier route, maybe you take Freddie Freeman's Goblin and a 4-pick power play. This would be a 7.5x payout using the Freddie Freeman Goblin. He has struck out quite a bit versus Zach Wheeler in his life. So yeah, you're getting the 7.5x multiplier. So that could be another option for you Goblin peoples. Where's the passes attempted? Y'all are saying this is good. I mean, I don't know. You guys are saying that the soccer taco is good. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that I'm some soccer expert. I'm not. I don't know anything about it. Am I going to take it? Of course I'm going to take it. Of course I'm going to take the over at 42.5 passes attempted. It's a pretty significant discount. I was just saying that I've been burned by soccer tacos in the past. Adante Harper is asking, are you worried about Rhys Hines? He just played Colorado and destroyed him. Not really, because every pitcher, every matchup's different. So no. What happened yesterday has no impact on what could happen today, which is why, again, I don't really care so much about hit rates. I wonder what my taco limit is. Like, let me see. $25. Some of y'all are saying you only got a $5 taco limit. I have a $25 taco limit. So I think what I'm going to do with this taco, I'll go this route. I'll do Jake Irvin less than 5 Ks, and I'll put this $25 on this taco. I'll go that route. Now, Irvin could tie at 5 Ks, but against the Mets, so they don't strike out a whole lot. I'm okay with that. If he does push or tie, wouldn't be the worst situation in the world. Hopefully he doesn't come out and is a total flamethrower, though. But we've got about a 53.7% chance that he's going to have 5 or fewer Ks. So as far as this being one of the top plays on the optimizer, it is. It is one of the top plays. Minus 226 for him to stay under 6 Ks tonight. On Pinnacle, minus 226 for him to stay under 5.5 strikeouts or 6 strikeouts, however you want to say it. I'm cool with that. Here's Yordan Alvarez. He's one of the highest projected hit, run, and RBI guys. You could add him to your slip as well. We already used Wheeler under 5.5 hits allowed. We used Lodolo under 7 strikeouts. We used Gallen over 6 strikeouts. Feel free to screenshot this. Got it? No, not yet. Get your screenshots in. And then you could do some more research on some of these plus EV plays on your own. But I think that's going to do it for today's live stream. Appreciate everybody. We got a 2-pick Taco Tuesday play in there. We also got, this little 4-pick in there. Zach Gallen for more than 6. Strikeouts, Zach Wheeler for under 5.5 hits allowed. Nico Herner for less than a run scored. And then we got Nick Lodolo in there for less than 7 Ks. So there's 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10 picks we talked about today. So a lot of different options for you guys. So here you go, gang. My work here is done. Now it's up to the players to do their part. Good luck if you decide to tail any of the picks, plays, or parlays. And if you're a Dub Club member, I'm going to keep the research going. We'll post some more slips for you throughout the day. Catch you in the next one. Peace.